Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Systems Lab Live. I'm excited. This is the first Systems Lab Live of 2025. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I'm excited. We are live on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Instagram, folks. And let me just tell you, this is the year, folks, of the year of elevated project management. As you guys are entering into the chat, coming on live, tell me your name, where you're from, what project that you are working on. All right, what project that you are working on. See, we're doing some of the same things as we did in our last year, but also we are elevating elevating our project management experience. And I'm excited about doing that. For those of you that are here for the very, very first time, welcome. Ashley Schuler, project management consultant. And you're on this journey because you are looking to grow as a project manager. You're a good project manager, but you're looking to elevate this year. You're going from good to great. And there's three ways that you're going to experience that this year with me: through leadership, strategy, and execution. And we're going to be looking at those principles, and we're going to be doing a lot of really great topics this year. We're going to talk about AI and automation. We're going to talk about leadership development, and we're going to talk about mastering tools and teams. Those are kind of like our big picture theme. We're going to hit some pain points tonight and moving forward. In tonight's topic, we're talking about setting clear project objectives. And I came across this statistic, and I thought this was an interesting statistic, because when we talk about making sure that our projects are on time, under budget, well executed, all the things, right, that we wish and hope for as project managers, sometimes we also know that these things don't happen. And I saw this statistic and I was like, you know what? This statistic really sort of blew my mind. It said that 44% of projects fail due to a lack of alignment between business and project objectives. Can you believe that? 44% of projects fail because there's no alignment between business objectives and project objectives. Why is that? I told a client once, when we were talking about their particular projects that they had and the clients that they would sign. And we're talking about, project workflows and everything in between. And I noticed a pattern. Here was a pattern. There was one client that would come in, and this particular organization was like branding, marketing. You could do all the things. So shout out to all of those agencies that do the marketing campaign, social media, print. They do, what else you do? You do multimedia, logos, web design. I mean, it's a vast array of services that you do. Now, here's the thing. If you're built like that and you have, all the things that you can do, right, then that's cool. But if you're, starting out and you're trying to get your footing, it's not necessarily always the best choice to say, hey, I just do the whole menu, right? This ain't Crackle Barrel, folks, or what's that other place that has the buffets? Is it Crackle Barrel? What is the other? I don't know. I feel like I haven't frequented enough buffets to know this. But anyway, my point is this, is that when you have a buffet of services and you just have everybody coming to you, sometimes you'll attract those projects that really don't align with the business mission of your organization. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that if your strengths are lying in, your organization's strengths are lying in, let's see, social media, maybe it's branding, right? Maybe it's all those things. And maybe somebody's coming to you, hey, I need print, I need ads, I need PR, right? The misalignment can not really be that great. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we mean by projects fail because there is a misalignment between the business objectives and the project objectives. And so tonight we're going to Golden Corral. There we go. There we go. Thank you, Michael Coven. Golden Corral. I was like, okay. So here we are. Here we are. So we're talking about these things. Okay. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about project objectives. How to set clear objectives for project success. So tonight we're going to walk through a three-phase approach that we have. And we're going to walk through also a story too, because this is going to be really good. I'm going to share my screen so that we're all on the same page. But guess what, folks? We are really in this thing. Okay, let me see if I share my screen. Ooh, screen sharing powers activated. I love it. Screen sharing powers activated. So setting clear project objectives. What are project objectives? So just so that we have a good working definition, we're all on the same page of setting project objectives. Project objectives are, simply put, they are the GPS that gets you to your destination. Everybody uses Waze. How many Wazers do we have? How many Google Maps people do we have in the building? Those are what project objectives are. They're essentially your GPS that gets you to your destination. What's the destination? Project deliverables. So a deliverable is a service, a project, a service, a product, or a result. So that can be a podcast, that can be an event. This can be maybe you are producing, a certain level of like developing a process of some sort of result that you're looking to achieve. Perhaps you're looking to achieve a certain number of members in your digital membership group. Okay. So that's what we're looking at, setting project objectives. Anyone here of SMART goals? See, I know that we're all following along. SMART goals. That's what we're talking about when we speak about project objectives. And so I'll tell you this story. So I'm on this project and I was asked to join it like midway. I wasn't the PM. I was more so I guess you would call myself an advisor. That would be my particular role. So we have a project manager, we have a sponsor, we have another senior leader, and we have another individual contributor, like an analyst on the project. So in this project, here's what's happening. The goal of the project is to fix this problem. There's a huge problem. There are emails that come through this system, and they come from everywhere. Different organizations, people got questions. So shout out to people who have, memberships, whether it is nonprofit, whether it is Chamber of Commerce's, whether you are serving people. People have questions and they're going to email you. Okay. That's just the way it is. So the issue is that, hey, when these emails come in, we need a way to track, manage, organize, but also the fourth thing that we're looking to do with this system is be able to go back to questions that have been answered so that we can create a knowledge management database. Let's put a pin in that. Knowledge management. What is that? That's basically creating a system where you are putting like SOPs, hiring documents, best practices, things like that, all in one system so that everyone can be empowered to find answers, to do research, to go about their work and to execute. Okay, back over to that because we could be on knowledge management for like 5 days straight. Love talking about it. So here's the thing. When we talk about projects failing, we said that 44%, that's what the stat said, 44% of projects fail. Why? Because there's not an alignment with business objectives and the project objectives. Okay, so here's where things get a little bit tricky. Oftentimes we may think, and I've been in a situation where you have people who know what the problem is, and then you have a technical team that goes about and builds the thing. Okay. And if you're not careful, if you don't, or if you're not able to properly communicate your objectives, meaning you're trying to communicate what the actual end goal is, the end deliverable is, then that means that whatever is being built is not going to align with the business objectives. Okay. Does that make sense? Put a one in the chat if that makes sense. What's going on, Mason? Thank you all so very much. So very much. So that's what we're really looking at. We look at business objectives. We're looking at it from the perspective of, all right, so our business objectives really should be crystal clear as it serves like what you are going to do in terms of profit, what you're trying to do in terms of like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like the goals in which you're looking to achieve a success. That's what I'm trying to say. The goal in which you're looking to achieve success. And so when you have business objectives and you have that outline, that helps you to really have projects that support your business, right? If you don't have the right objectives, then you will just have projects that are out of alignment. Okay. So we have that parallel, right? We have the business objectives, and that is being in alignment to project objectives. And so, and as Mason said, in my line of work, we call them deliverables. Exactly. So here's the thing, and this is a great example, and I'm glad that Mason brought this up because I can talk to something that we've worked on, and I'm gonna make sure to bring this up as another example. Okay, don't get nervous, Mason. It's a good thing, but you may be able to identify with this. All right, so here we are, and the tech team has presented the demo of the actual tool. Okay. And what happens is that as the demo's going on and as people are testing it, it's not working. Now, a couple of things could happen. Maybe it's missing requirements, right? Because you want to make sure you give technical people the exact requirements that you need to make something work. Okay. However, another aspect to project objectives is that, again, it's your GPS to ensure that that you're going to meet the destination to your actual deliverable. So if the goal is to be able to track, to manage, to organize, and let's say let's add some percentages, right? We want to increase our response rates by 25%. Okay, that can be a great project objective, especially for a mailbox inquiry system. Okay, so with that said, if the actual deliverable does not meet that, then we have an issue, right? You got to go back and look at what's happening. Okay, and I think this is really important to know that when you're looking to craft project objectives, you want to do it in three ways, and we're going to get into that in just a few minutes, how you can craft the three project objectives. But let me get into what happens when you don't craft these project objectives correctly. And I'm going to write down a few notes for you all. So a few mistakes that often happen when we talk about crafting project objectives. What often happens is that the scope is not clear. What does that mean? The scope is not clear. It'll be pop up on the screen in a minute. So scope is essentially what we're doing and what we're not doing. Okay? What we're doing and what we're not doing. So scope includes your requirements, includes the timeline, and it includes other things like it includes risk and all of that. So that's what it includes. So we say that scope is not clear. So we're talking about what is the final product. Okay. And I'll write that down too. Let's write that down so that we're super clear. So the scope is not clear. So that means that there is no deadline. All right. That means you lack requirements. Okay. Yep. Scope is not clear. You lack requirements. Those are the two primary things. So number two, when we're in a position where the deliverables are not where we want it to be, whether that's, it could be you're getting clothing design, maybe you're getting merch created, somewhere along the line, something happened, right? So what you want to look at is, again, the scope. Hey, the scope is not clear. It talks about, no deadline. You're lacking requirements. Anyone else in the chat wanting to just do a pulse check? What have you encountered? What have you encountered when things have gone awry when it comes to things that you're looking to produce, like your deliverables, where you do branding, whether you do logo design, whether it's an event? Talk to me about what happens when you have like unclear project objectives, things like that. What's happened when that's happened? Anybody have anything that they kind of want to be able to talk about? What's going on, Joya? What's going on, everyone? Right? I'll add this. There's no clear communication. This is often what happens, is that there's no clear communication. I think this is really important. There's no clear communication. This is a real factor that comes about when you don't have clear project objectives. Nobody's talked to anybody, which means that somebody pressed the go button and said, move this project forward and build this tool, produce this item, set this up, and you haven't talked to anybody, right? People aren't on the same page. Somebody's walked in and they said, hey, I thought we were building this item. And that's exactly what happened in the story. So what happened is that I come in and I am helping to craft requirements. I'm helping to make sure that the project is the intent of the project, the objectives are going to be met, but something, a little ringer goes off in my brain. And I said to myself, well, first of all, do we have clear project objectives? Does everybody know where we're going? Do we have goals for this project, right? Because if we don't have goals for the project, how are we able to properly articulate the look, the feel, the intention behind the mailbox system? How are we able to do that? Sure, you could be able to say, oh, okay, well, just go ahead and build it and it's beta and we'll figure it out. Well, nobody has time to sit there and build and, and just build with no end. We got to have intentionality. Another issue when we talk about no clear communication, oftentimes we don't ask questions. Okay, I'm gonna write that down too. We don't ask the right questions, and sometimes we have to ask why. Why are we doing what we're doing? And I think this year, when we are on projects, when we're leading out projects, that is something that we're going to want to drive home. It's the why factor. Why are we doing this? Our whys get us closer to being very clear on what the project objective, what we're looking to accomplish, our GPS, right? To making sure that what we're building, what we're producing, what we're executing on turns out that it would in its intended fashion. So we're not asking the right questions, people. And that's what I would encourage you today, is to say, hey, we got to go and we've got to be able to do that, to ask the right question. Absolutely, Joya. We will be saving this life. Excellent. And so what do we do when this happens, right? When we not asking the right questions, there's no clear communication, the scope isn't clear, which means that everybody is in disarray. Everybody's in disarray. What do we do? What do we do? Well, I'm going to tell you what we do in my newsletter, which you should sign up. 1 question a week, free newsletter. It's really great. We ask these burning questions that we're tackling every single day because we're doing all the things as PMs. We're managing the work and the people and all these things. So every week I'm asking 1 question, providing 1 answer, and you get 1 every week. And I talked about the 3-phase process to writing out and setting out clear project objectives. Okay? All right. So number 1, and this is a good one, because I think that in this culture of return back to work and remote workers getting a bad rap, everybody talks about collaboration. Everyone talks about communication. Everyone talks about teamwork. But many people don't know that there's a lot of work that goes into those 3 items to making sure that your team, hybrid or not, is a well-oiled machine that's able to clearly communicate, that's able to be productive, that's able to execute. It takes work. And we're going to be exploring that more this year. We're going to be exploring that. So it's no surprise, good people, that what we're talking about here today is we need to talk about gathering everyone together, right? I think that's going to be super important. We want to gather everyone together. And that's what I did within this particular project, right? Is that we had to take a step back. Instead of telling the tech team, hey, you got it wrong, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we look at our own self? Why don't we do some evaluation and say, hey, I think we missed the mark. I think we missed the mark. How did we miss the mark? Because we didn't properly define project objectives. On one of my LinkedIn posts, I said that even project objectives are really symptom of the root problem. The root problem is what we talked about in the other sheet, which is lack of scope. Okay. But like I said, it's all related. So here's what we do. Here's our 3-phase process. Boom, boom, boom. Our 3-phase process is like this. Oop. Make sure I've got that right. Number 1, we want to gather together. Gather all the people together. Get everybody in a room, virtual or hybrid, whichever is your circumstance. You want team members. You want executive leadership, team members, whoever it is, to discuss what needs to be accomplished. Focusing on tangible deliverables and desired outcomes. Who's with me? Why are we gathering? We did a couple of live streams last year on meetings. Will we do it again this year? Why not? This is still a hot topic, how we can meet and gather together and be efficient. But when we gather together, what are we doing? We're talking about what we're going to accomplish. What in this project, what do we want to do? Why are we building? What are the outcomes? You have to be specific. That's why we do. That's why the SMART goals are there. Let me write this down. SMART. Specific, measurable, actual, realistic, timely. I almost said tangible. SMART goals. Okay. And that's an easy way if you're looking to develop them. That's a nice framework. You also can utilize the OKR framework, objective key results, where you have a particular goal. It's written in a different way. You have like an objective. So let's say you have a digital membership and you say, I want to increase my membership by 35% this year. And then you have your key results, where basically like your action steps. A key result can be send out daily emails. Key result can be live stream 3 times a week. That could be it. So we're gathering together to do what, people? What did we say that we're gathering together to do what? And who are we gathering together? Pop quiz. Whoever's still on. Pop quiz. Who's gathering together? It's me. It's you, the PM, the team members. It's the senior leadership. Those are the 3 people that you need to be involved. And what are you gathering for? You're doing that to align the project's intent and the goal. You are discussing, when you're gathering everyone together, you're discussing what needs to be accomplished, why it needs to be accomplished, what needs to be done, the tangible thing, the product, the service, the result, and the desired outcomes. So here we are, folks. Here we are in the meeting where I said to myself, ooh, it's not just requirements that's the issue. We don't know where we're going. So we take a step back and we say, okay, we don't know where we're going. So let's get everybody in a room and let's talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it and what's our goal and what we're accomplishing. Make sense? Make sense? Please feel free to send me a direct message, leave a comment, share this live stream out with about 50 of your friends managing these projects. Define the scope. Here we go. Here we go, folks. Defining the scope. This is what I love. When we talk about defining the scope, we said earlier, we're outlining what's required and what's not. What's required and what's not. So Mason, if he's still on, so Mason and I worked on something together. It was this idea I had to print out. Well, it wasn't print out because I'm not printing. You were creating some personalized merch for me. So Mason's asking me, okay, Ashley, okay, here are some of the product pieces that, that I have. What exactly are you looking for? So I say, okay, I'm looking for a windbreaker, a long sleeve shirt, and maybe I said a hoodie or something like that. Now, one thing that in this project that I could have what could have happened is this. What if I said sneakers and socks and bandanas, right? So we're clearly outlining what we're doing and what we're not doing. That's simply what we're talking about here. We're talking about the scope. The scope of what Mason was creating was not a whole outfit for me. It wasn't shoes. It wasn't creating shoes. It wasn't creating bandanas or socks. It was only creating like the hoodie, the windbreaker, and the shirt. And so I'm just making it very basic for you all so that you guys can, kind of get an understanding of what we're talking about, so that you kind of have it in your mind when we're talking about scope. Now, inside scope, we're talking about deliverables, timelines, specific requirements, and we're understanding the boundaries and expectations. Ooh, boundaries. Is that not our favorite topic and buzzword of 2024, leading into 2025? Boundaries. So not only as individuals and in relationships should we be talking about our boundaries, there's also project boundaries. Hey, what if I came back and I said, oh, Mason, guess what? I need 25 hoodies. I need 15 hats. He's going to say to me, Ashley, well, as long as you got the money, okay? That's what, no, but, well, he may say that, but that's out of the scope of what it is that he's working on. That's out of scope. So oftentimes when we're off course or off track, these projects, it's because something's going on with the scope. Something's going on with it. Now, let's say too with that, because we said deadlines and timelines. Now, if you don't give yourself a deadline, you're just gonna keep it dragging and dragging. So let's say I just said to Mason, I said, Mason, just work. Mason could take 3 months to produce everything, and it's just 3 pieces. You know what I'm saying? And so You want to be able to put a deadline because deadlines are commitments. Deadlines give your project a final pathway where you know, okay, this is where we're going to land on this date and time. So this is why project objectives and the scope are so linked. They're linked together. They're linked together. They're linked together quite well. So lastly, developing project outcomes. Okay. So so making sure that these project outcomes, these are the specific things, right, that you are looking for when it comes to the project itself. So let's say this. So we're back to our story. So we've set ourselves up for success in this way. I've come into the meeting. I've been brought in midway. We have the tech team that has built something that wasn't up to par. Folks are upset. Folks are mad. People are pointing each other's fingers in front of their faces. It's getting real. It's getting real. I say to myself, self, we have a problem. We have an issue. Is it the fact that we don't have requirements? Possibly. That's a piece of it. Or did we not properly define the project objectives? And so that's what we're after. So we gather everybody together and we talk about what's required. We gather everybody together to talk about the intent of the project. Then we start to talk about the scope, what's required, what's not. And then now, last but not least, what rounds this whole thing out is project outcomes. And I think this is where we have to get an understanding of what's the result that we're looking at, right? This helps to determine if a project is successful. This is what helps to keep a team motivated and engaged. And you want to do this in the beginning of the project, okay? You want to do this in the beginning of the project. And so you could say especially for the mailbox system that we're talking about here, increase customer satisfaction. Hey, increase customer satisfaction. That can be a project outcome. Hold on. Oops. Okay, here we go. Wanted to write that down. Our project outcomes to be developed. And this is all three of these really need to be done in the beginning of the project. This is where you're getting yourself and your team aligned on what you're doing, why you're doing it, where you're headed, what's the timeline, what's required. Do you have all the resources? This happens in the beginning. But you want to be really, really clear, especially when you're setting up a new system, a new process, you're producing something new. What's the outcome? What's the outcome? And I think this is just, again, a perfect example of what you can do when you gather everybody together. All right, folks, this is our time. This is our time. I've had a lot of fun tonight. And did you all learn something tonight? I hope that you have. We'll be back next week. New topic and all. But please be sure to like on my YouTube page, share with all of your project manager and operations professionals. Be sure to also subscribe to my newsletter. The links are all there. Book a call if you want a coaching and consulting call with me. Talk about your projects, mastermind, all these different things. All the things are in the link in the bio. But thank you all so much. As we kick off Systems Lab Live, this is the January 15th edition. We've kicked off a brand new year, and I hope this has been helpful in the work that you all are doing. All right, everybody, have a good one. Talk to you soon, and we'll see you. Bye.